Hello, my creative friends. I'm Heather North from heatherscreativeblessings.com. My card today was originally made for the Casing Christmas class, and when I showed it to Catherine, it didn't quite fit her vision, so she asked me to change it up a bit. I ended up changing it so much that I came up with a whole new card, a twisted inlaid die cut card, which you can see over at Stamp Nation. But I wanted to share my watercolor card with you, so that's what I'm doing today. This glittery piece of paper that I think I got from Joann's is the same size as the card front, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just going to cut off a piece of it at an angle. This time I'm cutting about a third of it off, and I'm going to be left with 2/3. You could also just cut it in half. That's what I did the first time I made this card. It's totally up to you, and here's a sneak peek of the end result. I want to stamp the Peace, Love, Joy from the Holiday Trimmings stamp set from Winnie and Walter, made for the Stamp of Approval Holiday Magic Collection. I want it to go on an angle, so I put my card base in. It's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 Whisper White cardstock, and then I put the glittery piece over it, and I'm holding it in place with magnets. And this way I can use my MISTI to pick up the sentiment and stamp it exactly where I want it to go, and make sure that the words are where I want them to be on my card front. I'm also going to take a snowflake. I believe this is from Bring on the Snowflakes from Casual Friday Stamps. It was also made for the Stamp of Approval collection. I'm just going to take one of those large snowflakes and stamp it on the bottom. You can see I'm just kind of lining it up here, and then I will pick up the stamp. And I decided I wanted it to be down just a little bit further from that glittery piece. So thanks to the grid lines, I can just move it up 1/4 of an inch, and that will have it stamping just a little bit lower. And I think that'll be perfect. You want to make sure you use a powder tool or some kind of anti-static tool to remove some of the static. And then I'm going to use Versamark to ink this stamp up. As I mentioned, this is all part of the Stamp of Approval Holiday Magic Collection, all these stamps I'm using today. And Catherine Pooler is doing a giveaway over on her blog to win the newest Stamp of Approval collection that comes out in January. So I'll have links on my blog if you're interested in taking part in that. I mean, who doesn't want a free box of awesome goodies you can't find anywhere else? So what I did was I inked it up with Versamark. I put some embossing powder. This is silver embossing powder from Stampin' Up, and some straight embossing powder got on my cardstock. So I just used a dry brush to brush off that extra powder, and then use my heat tool to heat set that. Now there was a few little flakes. I just used my eraser and they actually came off. You never know if that's going to work or not, but it's worth a try. So now I'm going to just ink up and stamp that big snowflake from Casual Friday Stamps. I just love this one. I think it's one of my favorites. I think they're all my favorites. Oh boy. So same thing. I'm going to try and use a lot more of this powder from this powder tool. De-static tool. I don't know what it's called. It didn't work last time. And then I'm going to ink it up again with Versamark and use the embossing powder to emboss it. This particular snowflake has several holes in it, you might say, that I thought would be perfect for coloring. So I brought out my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. I think that's number 31 and 32. And I did a couple of different things. So the first one, this is just an aqua painter, a damp aqua painter, and I'm adding water to each of those, I don't know, kind of diamonds, ovals. And I'm adding in one of the colors of blue I have. Then I'm going to use my aqua painter to spread it out. I could have had it just solid in there, but I wanted a little bit of color variation, and that's why I'm doing it this way. You could totally skip the water step if you wanted. And then now I'm taking the lighter shade, or the different shade of blue, and filling in some of the other holes. Then I'm going full strength with that dark blue on some of the last pieces there. I decided I wanted a little more shading, so I'm just using the tip of this clean color real brush marker, and I'm picking some up with my aqua painter. Now when I did this, I discovered something, and I'll share it with you in just a second. But look the way that I'm tapping. You see that? It sometimes gets a little bit of water on the tip of your marker, so just rub it off on a piece of scrap paper and it starts flowing full color again. But what I discovered as I was flicking the color to get it onto my aqua painter is that I was flicking little dots of that ink, and it's really hard to see in the camera, but it adds just a nice little touch. I kind of liked it. There we go. You can just see a little bit of the flurries is what it kind of reminds me of. So I started doing that all over to make it look like it was done on purpose. It's just taking the aqua painter and flicking the tip of the real brush marker. Pretty easy. See that? It's so easy, and it just adds a nice little touch that I loved. If you don't want those flicks of color all over your paper, all you'd have to do is pick up the ink off to the side. So make sure your marker's not over your cardstock if you don't want it to flick onto your cardstock. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Just a little tip I learned along the way. It worked out perfectly because I'm doing snow this time. I just picked up a little bit of that lighter color as well, so there'd be more than one color in the end result. And as easy as that, just glue my pieces together onto a card base and I am done. As you can imagine, with the Misty, this would be really easy to mass produce if you needed to make several of these in a hurry. I think this would also make a very pretty wintry birthday card. Here's another close-up look where you can see the flicks of paint. You can see the sparkliness of the glittery paper and the detail in the coloring. If you like my card today, be sure and give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss a one. I will have links below to the Stamp of Approval giveaway as well as the Casing Christmas class over at Stamp Nation. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and I will see you again in the next video. Bye.